Amazing. Yesterday was amazing. Today promises to be even more spectacular. All right, let's keep joining. Let's keep joining. Let's keep joining. As you're joining, type in your name and where you are joining us from. Type in your name and where you are joining us from. The training will begin shortly. The training will begin shortly. The training will begin shortly. All right, we're still expecting a lot more persons. I mean, it feels like everyone is joining and leaving. But yeah, I think some persons are joining us from YouTube and some persons on Google Meet. All right, type in your name and where you're joining from. Okay, on YouTube, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Funke from Lagos, nice to meet you. They're still expecting a few more persons, and then we kick off in 3 minutes. If you're just joining us, type in your name and where you are joining from. Your name and where you are joining from. Type in your name and where you're joining from. It's nice to know those of us that are joining the conversation. So please type in your name and where you're joining from. Type in your name and where you're joining from. Type in your name and where you are joining from. Amazing, 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 amazing. We have participants on YouTube. Oh wow, two persons on YouTube now. All right, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Although your name is too difficult to pronounce. Yeah, apologies, apologies. But yeah, please type in your name and where you're joining from. Okay, I think some other persons are joining us on Google Meet. All right, we'll kick off in exactly 1 minute. We'll kick off in exactly 1 minute. This session will be recorded. Nice to meet you. Oh, nice to meet you, Oluwakemi from Lagos. Nice to meet you. Thank you for joining. We'll be kicking off shortly. Nice to meet you. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. All right, let's just keep sharing the link. Let's keep sharing the link. Let's have everyone here. Let's have everyone here. I mean, let's have everyone here. It's going to be an exciting session. It's the second day for this free AI prompt engineering training. It's important that we get the knowledge. We get the knowledge. If there's one thing about knowledge, knowledge cannot be lost. Knowledge is an important information that cannot be lost. I mean, what you gain now will definitely come in handy in the future. It will come in handy in the future. And for many persons, even now than ever. All right, nice to meet you, Tep TV. Thank you for joining. All right, so we'll be kicking off tonight's session. Like I said, the session will be recorded so that anyone that misses it can easily go back to the recording. But it would have been best if everyone joined live. But in any case, let us kick off today's session. So yesterday we started talking about AI prompt engineering. We started to introduce the concept of AI prompt engineering, the importance of AI prompt engineering, why it's important in this day and time, and particularly with the advent of artificial intelligence becoming in vogue. It's important that we start to learn how to communicate with artificial intelligence. Of course, they say garbage in, garbage out. If you don't get your inputs in enough, you cannot get sufficient outputs from artificial intelligence. Many persons are starting to explore new areas of artificial intelligence. Some persons want to build applications. Persons are building websites. Some persons are building different kinds of things with artificial intelligence nowadays. We are seeing all kinds of innovation comes up with artificial intelligence. Whether you are a business person and you are trying to plan your marketing, plan your content strategy, and several things like that, you must understand prompt engineering. Whether you are trying to build a website for your business, you must understand prompt engineering. Whether you are a career person that is also just trying to manage documentations, send emails, proposals, and things like that, you must understand prompt engineering. And sequel to yesterday, I'm going to try as much as possible to actively walk us through what a good structure for prompting artificial intelligence should look like, what a good structure for prompting artificial intelligence or AI assistants, what it should look like. So, without further ado, let us jump right into it. Let us jump right into it. So, I'll be sharing my screen now. All right. So, what exactly? Before I go on, I think sequel to yesterday's call, several persons were still requesting that we hold up on the certification, that it should not close. That was yesterday. So just as a bit of announcement, the certification is still online. It's still available. You can quickly get your certification. So this training does not go in vain. Of course, you are certified for the information that you get, for the learning that you get, and the certification for this. Of course, you can get a certification as a proof of skill. You can add it on your resume, your CV, on LinkedIn. It shows your commitment to AI and technology adoption, and it shows that you are basically certified for what you are talking about, and it's just 2,000 naira. So if you still want to get yours, the QR code is here, and the admin would help send the link again to the general chat. So whoever wants to still get certified can get theirs. So it's going to be open tonight and tomorrow night. Tomorrow is Sunday. Yes, tomorrow night, I believe. I think that was the extension that we gave. So tonight and tomorrow night. So if anyone still wants to get the certification, they can still go ahead and get it. After the call yesterday, several persons got their certificates, but some persons were still also requesting that we please give time. So we decided to do a bit of extension. All right. So that being said, uh, let us go right into the prompt engineering tips. Prompt engineering tips. So yesterday, we tried to explain different kinds of prompt engineering, how you can start to prompt artificial intelligence. We also started to demystify what generative AI is. We started to demystify what generative AI is. We started talking about conversational AI, and then we said that this was where the AI assistants fall under. Now we have different kinds of AI assistants. Yesterday, I remembered also mentioning that if it's only ChatGPT that you have, go and download more than ChatGPT. You should have more than ChatGPT. If it's just ChatGPT you have, then you are doing yourself more harm than good. The more AI tools or the more AI assistant tools that you have, the better your scope of work. So basically, there are different kinds of AI assistant tools. I'll be saying this as a bonus tonight. There are different kinds of AI assistant tools that can help you to do your work easier and faster, even better than ChatGPT nowadays. There are some tools that helps you focus on research. There's some tools that helps you focus on research. If you heard of Notebook LLM not just does research. Notebook LLM also helps you with things like writing. If you are someone that does podcasts like myself, or if you are someone that does a lot of documentation and several things like that, Notebook LLM does all of those kinds of things. We started to see integrations. If you are someone that uses Canva, if you are using Canva for your content design for your organization, if you use Canva, now we've started to see businesses that now use they have Canva integrated with some tools like Copilot, such that you're able to schedule your marketing. So, say for example, you prompt your ChatGPT to get information or to get details for your content, or you prompt ChatGPT or Copilot to get content or details for your marketing campaign. You're able to connect it directly with Copilot, and Copilot helps you to bulk. It mass produces the designs that you want to do. It has even gotten to the point where you can start to generate some templates or videos. Although it might not be exactly there yet, it might not be really close to what you want, but at least it's already doing some of these things. So you can also start to post directly from your Canva. You can start to post directly from your Canva. And several other things like this are some of the capabilities that we will start to see from artificial intelligence. These things are available. We just have to start exploring these things. Well, this is not the subject of tonight's teaching. I'm going to be walking us through a bit of exercise. I want us to follow up closely. I'll be using ChatGPT as a template example, similar to what I did yesterday. And I'm going to be talking about some prompt engineering tips. Now, aside from just understanding prompt engineering, there are some tips that you have to put in place. All right, I see Isaac. I see Isaac on YouTube. Isaac, nice to have you here. Exciting, nice to have you here. All right, so moving on. talking about prompt engineering tips, there are several prompt engineering tips or several practices, let me call them practices, that you should uphold. Number one is being specific. Yesterday, remember we talked about those four tenets of a good prompt. That your prompt must have context, your prompt must have a task, your prompt must have a role, and then the output must be specific. So talking about that now, diverting a bit from there, we are trying to talk about best practices for prompt engineering. What are the best practices we're talking about? Uh, Isaac says, my first time here. You're welcome, Isaac. You're welcome, Isaac. All right, beautiful. So, the best practices for prompt engineering. Number one is you must be specific. If you are going to write a good AI prompt, no matter what you are writing for, whether you are writing for a document or whether you're writing for a video or whether you're just asking questions or doing your research, your prompt must be specific. You must have a specific flow in which you are directing artificial intelligence to give you certain information. Number two is that you must break the task into steps. I'm going to be showing us some of these things. I'm going to be presenting something I've worked on in the past, and I'm going to be showing us what exactly it looks like. So don't worry, I'll just explain now and I'll show what it looks like later. So he says you must break your tasks into steps. You must have several steps, layer by layer, of what you are prompting. It must be in steps. The next one says you must use examples. Using examples helps you, is one of the best practices that you can go ahead with. Examples like what? If you remember yesterday, we were talking about giving it a role, a specific niche. Saying, for example, oh, you are a business professional, or you are a digital marketing expert, or you are a pro at a certain task that you do. So all of those kinds of things are examples that you can start to give. Or sometimes you can even reference to the history of what you have prompted artificial intelligence before. And some of these things are amazing, really. It will amaze you that these things are storing all of your information. Let me divert us a bit. There was a bit of challenge I did, not a challenge per se, but a bit of a task I did a while back. And you can also try it on your ChatGPT. Now you can tell ChatGPT that looking at your performance or the conversations that you and ChatGPT has had for maybe however long you have using ChatGPT, that you should go through the history and then it should suggest to you what kind of behavior you have rather, what kind of behavior you have. And some of these things start to give you examples of, okay, in this case, are we talking about psychology? We're starting to give it context of psychology and several things like that. And you can even go further to say, okay, try and paint it in a picture of a man and a pet, or try and paint it in a picture of a person in an office. So if I were in your office as ChatGPT, what would the office look like? Would it be really clean, or would it be muffled, or would it be scattered? Would it be all over the place? And you'll be amazed at some of the outcomes that you are going to be getting. You'll be amazed at some of the outcomes that ChatGPT is going to give you in visual things. So beyond the text now, you're able to understand visually what some of these outputs are looking like and what some of these things are looking like. So it's gradually evolving, it's gradually changing the way we do things. AI is currently changing the way we see things. Like I said yesterday, in a way, it might start to affect our culture. It might start to affect our culture and some of the things that many of us do. But basically, those are some of the best practices that we can basically implement while we are using artificial intelligence. So you can ask for revisions, improve prompts iteratively. So let me quickly show us some of these things as an example of what I've done before, and I'll walk us through it very quickly. Very quickly. Uh, I will try as much as possible not to share a lot of personal information, but I think my ChatGPT is a bit personal. For me to really share this example, I'll need to get a bit personal. All right, so let me stop sharing now and let me share my. So pardon me, guys. This might get a bit personal, but I just need to try and explain to you guys what exactly we're talking about here. All right. So this is what. Let me start a new chat. This is what my ChatGPT interface looks like. Of course, some persons might advise you that you need to go for the paid version. Of course, the paid version has several uses and several things like that. But really, what I would advise is that if you want to really explore, don't just stay on ChatGPT. Try and explore several other AI assistant tools that you can have out there that you can have your hands upon. There are several of them that can help you do different kinds of tasks. ChatGPT is just one of them. You can check out Copilot. Copilot is excellent. You can check out Gemini. Many of you use Gemini, of course. You can check out Notebook LLM. Notebook LLM is an amazing, it's also by Google. Notebook LLM is by Google. It's an amazing AI tool that will surprise you. Some of the output that you start to see, it starts to marvel you. If you are someone in the technical space, if you're someone in technical space, you can use, of course, you know DeepSeek, you know Claude, you know Lovable, and several other AI tools like. So there's a lot of them out there. There's a lot of them out there performing different distinct functions. All right, so like I was saying, you will see my ChatGPT interface now. One particular thing I want to draw your attention to is the side of the project. Now, I will not be opening any of these projects because I don't want you to see personal information. But when I'm creating a new project, some of the information I start with, let me try and create a new project. I'll show you what I mean. So let me select new project. Okay, select new project. So it gives you the option of saying, oh, okay, this particular project, does it have to do with investing? Is it an homework? Is it writing? Is it travel? All of those things can basically help you to guide your thoughts and things like that. So let me say this is a sample demonstration for training. So let's create this project. All right. So as soon as you see this project, now you would immediately, if you are very used to this interface, you immediately glimpse your eyes on the adding files. Now, this is where it starts to get even more tricky because many persons see these add files and oh, we are mostly like maybe it doesn't have to do it. When you get to add files here, files that you get to include here, or details that you get to include here, whether it's files or whether it's a whatever you get to include here, basically, it helps it helps AI to tailor his knowledge towards the thing you're working towards. So you can see if you are someone that has to do with them, if you're someone that is dealing with a particular organization, or maybe you're a freelancer working with separate organizations and different things like that. So it configures his knowledge base per the project you're working on. Let me give you an example. Now, say for example, you are a freelancer and you work for different organizations. Maybe you help them with accounting, or maybe you help them with different kinds of things, basically. You can easily configure the knowledge base. Now, this is where the specific comes into play. You are defining what information AI should be extracting this knowledge from. And not all AI tools does this. You are defining what specific information it should be extracting from. There are some AI tools that even allows you to drop links, not just the files now. It allows you to drop links and several things like that. For this one, it says add documents, code files, images, and more. And you can add all of those things, all of those different informations, and it's able to pick from that specific thing. So it doesn't matter the task you are doing. Like I said, some other AI assistants would even allow you to add a link. This is where the, pardon my English, but this is where the specificness comes into play. Pardon my English, please. But really, this is where it starts to come into play. So you are able to then specify what exact information you want to do on that AI tool. So once you select it now, you can then start to do your prompting. You can start to do your prompting, whatever information you want to talk about. Now, another important tip I think I should mention is that it's important that for your conversations with AI, and please, I want us to listen to this. For your conversations with AI, try as much as possible and categorize them. Many of us just have lots and lots of chats. If you check your chat history, this place here, you will see lots and lots of conversations. History is until ChatGPT chases you away that you should go, that your chat history is full before you leave. Now, I would say that you should always categorize your conversations by project basis. Project by project basis. Even if it's not a specific project, try and tailor the kinds of conversations you are talking about in specific. Of course, there are different areas of your life. If you're talking about your finance, have a project for finance. If you're talking about your business, have a project for business. If you're talking about different kinds of things, have a project for those specific things, because it's able to help you to properly accommodate those things and become more specific. It's something that many of us will not learn early, really. Something that many of us did not learn early, rather. But if you start to make your project or your information specific basis, you'll be able to get more out of the AI assistant or whatever AI assistant that you are using. That's another important tool. So if you are going to be prompting from say tomorrow or whenever, try and make sure that it is project by project basis. Project by project basis, and not having charts scattered all over the place. That is why most of the time you will notice that your AI is always forgetting some things that you've spoken about. It's not because it's intentionally forgetting, it's because your information has become scattered. Your information has become scattered. So if you want to get more out of artificial intelligence, particularly for those persons that are in the business sector, whatever sector you are in, whatever you are working at, always ensure that your artificial intelligence is in project by project basis. All right, that being said, let me stop sharing and go back to the main subject. All right. So, but is someone learning here? Is someone learning? Is someone learning? If you are learning, type in I'm learning, I'm learning, I'm learning. If you have gotten at least one thing tonight, type in I'm learning, I'm learning, I'm learning. Let me know that I'm not wasting my voice. Let me know that I'm not wasting my voice here. If you are learning something, type in I'm learning, I'm learning, I'm learning. The goal is to bring information, to bring these things for us to glean into. If you are learning, type in I'm learning, I'm learning, I'm learning. All right, amazing. So moving on. So prompt engineering, what people should really understand, what we should really understand about prompt engineering. This information basically is so things like prompt engineering is a thinking skill. If you think that prompt engineering is just like let me type in whatever, you are making a big mistake. Prompt engineering should be or must be a thinking skill. And prompt engineering is iterative by nature. Now you must consciously plan towards using your artificial intelligence tool. Prompt engineering basically helps you to get the best out of AI. So you must consciously plan towards using this. And so it's iterative by nature. You put in one information, you try and get the results, you tweak it again to get even better results. This is why that is why many persons are still finding it difficult to use AI right now. We don't understand that this thing is iterative by nature. Sometimes, say for example, a while back, one of the businesses I helped to set up some AI tools and some applications around their business. That was I think I helped them set up Zoho. I helped the business set up Zoho for that's Zoho books, yes, Zoho books for their business. So they had difficulties tracking their details manually, and they needed to set up Zoho and all of those kinds of things. So we had to look for how to connect some of these their current details that they have on paper and pen, and see how we can use artificial intelligence to make it even more seamless and faster, even while still using Zoho for all of the accounting processes. It's a bit conflicting, right? No worries, and that's I won't talk it. All in the same place. So what we started doing was that we started configuring step by step. Now we first have to we first have to get a dedicated AI tool for the business. Of course, the business owner was more specific towards ChatGPT. So we used ChatGPT. Now what we then did next was that we started to break down all the different activities, all different operations that we wanted to capture inside QuickBooks. And how were they doing it previously? We captured it down. How did they want to do it moving forward? We captured it down. So we started to build in systems and structures inside their AI, inside their Zoho platform. And we started to integrate some of these things and set these things up. And eventually it became seamless. It became a case of such that it was easy for the cashier or the front desk person to easily type in how much they are making in a day. We can easily get a breakdown of who is owing us, how can we send reminders, and several things like that. All of those things become very seamless and easy, especially when you know how to easily connect your AI tools with your technology tools. Of course, this one gets a bit complex now. We're using several tools together. But basically, this is the genesis or this is the basics of how every single thing starts. So it is iterative by nature. You plan one phase, you plan another phase, you plan another phase. Another example is a friend I have. This lady was so much conflicted that she had different things that she was working on. She had different things. She had projects she was working on for people. She had deadlines she was trying to meet. She wanted to track her bank statements. She wanted to track her accounts. She wanted to track how much she was working, how much she was spending, and several things like that. What do we do? What we simply have to do was to bring in different using ChatGPT, of course, for response and several things like that, and several other tools like that we connected together. We have to bring in these different processes, different systems and processes, and we connected them together such that she's able to get a personalized assistant that is able to send that information, send out reminders, and several things like that. All of these things are organized and are iterative by nature. But this is not our focus for this prompt engineering training. Like I said, prompt engineering is just the starting of it. It's just the beginning. It's just the basics. So if you don't understand the basics, it's going to be very difficult as we start to evolve. Why? Because many organizations will start to adopt new tools, new intelligence, new technologies that will start to get even more complex as we go. So it's important that we start to train ourselves as we go. If you are learning, type in train myself, I will train myself, I will train myself, I will train myself. If someone is there, type in I will train myself, I will train myself, I will train myself. This is why some of these informations are very important, particularly for us now, for business persons, for employees, for professionals, for freelancers. Some of these things are very important for us now. You will notice that sometimes now you will notice that for some persons, particularly in private sector, you start to see that there has been a bit of heat on performance. There's been a bit of heat. That is, your company is starting to demand more performance from you. And it's not like as if anything much is changing, but they are demanding more performance, more performance. They are expecting you to do more. It's not because they hate you, it's because they know that there is an assistance that can help you get the work done faster. So many persons have become lazy. In order not to become lazy, many private sectors have started to enforce strict policies that is have to do with performance and several things like that. I still had a conversation with my team lead this morning, and we're talking about how that we needed one of our staff members because she's not getting as productive as we wanted. So we wanted her to get more productive. And we said it's very simple. She has to go and learn it somewhere, whether on YouTube or wherever. Otherwise, she's out of job. And this is how many decisions are being made concerning many people. Really, this is how decisions are made concerning many people. So it's important that you get this information and you get the training. Now, common prompting mistakes. Common prompting mistakes. Many a times when you are prompting, you know yourself that you are always being too vague. The information you are passing there is not sufficient for AI to think. So you must not be vague. Ensure that your information is sufficient. Ensure that your information is detailed enough for AI to process. Number two, prompting mistake. It says asking for too much at once. Many a times, what we do is that we type in so much information. So much information. Oh, create a table for me. After you create the table, finish. Now do arithmetic on the table. After you do the arithmetic, now sum up everything together. After you sum up everything together, now put everything inside a document. Just so much information. And these things are assistants. If you want to get the best out of them, you need to start treating them like a proper assistant. How would you treat a normal person if you're going to tell the person to do all of these tasks? You will do it step by step. So don't ask for too much. Always ensure that you are always working iteratively. Now, the next one says no clear outcome. Many a times, we put in information there with no clear outcomes. It's very important you have a clear outcome. Expecting perfect answers at the first try. This is another thing that many of us miss out. Many a times you will not get exactly what you want until you have tried again and again and again. So you won't get sufficient information until you have tried and you have built your prompt in such a way that it is able to easily process and give you a comfortable output. Now we're going to be doing a bit of assessment. We're going to be doing a bit of assessment on this call. I'm going to be doing a bit of assessment. If you have your AI assistant tools, whether your Gemini, your ChatGPT, your whatever tools you have, let us try out something very quickly. And this is one another pro tip I'm going to be teaching us. Now, there is a difference. Okay, before we get here, before we go there, before we get to that exercise, let me talk about prompt example. So there are bad prompts and there are good prompts. And there's even another type of prompt I call better prompts. So they are bad, they are good, and they are better. It's just my own way of defining to interpret this well. Now, a bad prompt, for example, is something like write a business plan. If you attended the call yesterday, you remember that I said that if you are the kind of person that is still telling ChatGPT to write a business plan, write a marketing plan, design a graphic for me, and several things like that, you are wasting your time. You won't get sufficient information. All you'll be getting is jargons. And like I said, garbage in, garbage out. That's how our computers are. Garbage in, garbage out. A better prompt would have been act as a startup consultant, create a simple business plan outline for a tech startup targeting SMEs in Nigeria. If you look at this good prompt, you will see all the qualities of that we discussed yesterday, all the qualities of a good prompt. You will see it inside this prompt. A role that is playing, it is acting as a startup consultant. A task that is doing, it is creating a simple business plan outline For what exactly? For a tech startup, that's the context. Targeting SMEs in Nigeria. So you will see all of the elements of a good prompt inside this particular information. So, like we did yesterday, if you really want to get the best out of prompting, you need to learn to prompt well. And these things, of course, are not things that you learn at once. In fact, it starts to get more complicated. Say, for example, I was working on a documentation report. It can get so confusing when you're working on documentation reports, but it's very easy if you understand what you are doing. Now, usually, these kinds of reports that I would have worked on, I was to prepare an execution plan for a project. The project is meant to last about 6 months. Well, it's meant to last about 6 months. We're trying to develop a software for it's a gaming app for a business. Like I think the business is in is it Finland now or Sweden or something like that. But anyways, one of the countries in UK. Now, what I did, it was very funny. Now I got this information, but the day I got the information, I couldn't pick it up. I couldn't pick it up yet because I had several tasks I was doing. And this is the story of many of us. I had several tasks I was doing. And the next day it was the weekend. The following day after that, it was Sunday. Now, the next time I could pick it up was on Monday morning. Now, between Monday morning and the next time we'll be having meeting, that was around 10. I had to pick up this documentation. If you know the magic I did, anyways, I will try and explain the magic I did. So I picked up all of the information. I copied everything. I copied all the information, all the details I got from my notes, everything. That's why it's always important that every information that you get, ensure that you have a notepad on your phone or somewhere that you are jotting it. It's important that we have a notepad like a paper and pen or something like that. But many a times, these things are getting digitized. So it's important you start to get a digital notepad or things like that. So what did I do? I copied everything from my notes. I copied everything. I raised this to ChatGPT. I said, "This is my notes from a so and so meeting. Help me to clean it up." Now he cleaned it up and he presented it to me. Now this made sense. Now I told you that okay, I learned everything that has to do with a plan. Anything that has to do with a plan that we need to execute and separate it from the other information. Now, for the other information you separated it from, start to give those ones titles, subtitles of their own. So he separated all the plans, he gave subtitles of it. Now, I now pick the plan, and I told you that for these plans, expand on this plan. How should we approach the plan? Now, he gave his detail of how he want to approach the plan. He gave a summary of how he wanted to approach the plan. And then he asked me that should he go ahead to create the plan. I looked at the details. I said it was not really pleasing. It was not what I wanted. I had to tweak it a bit. No, adjust this one, adjust that one, and several things like that. By the time I was done, say in less than 10 minutes, 15 minutes, I was done already with all my prompting. And after I was done, I just simply told it, put this in a Word document format that I can download. And that was how I got my report. That was how I got my execution plan. And we submitted to the clients. The clients got it. They called us, they put us in on a call. The partner was there. After asking a few questions, they were excited and they asked us for the commercials. Now, this is how, for many of us, this is how understanding prompt engineering is saving us time, energy, and money. This is how it's saving us. But if you don't really understand how to prompt, if you are not really patient with prompting, you will never get good results. So understand that there's a bad prompt and there's a good prompt. So which type of person are you using AI right now? Are you a bad prompter or you're a good prompter? Now, the next exercise now that I want us to do is understanding the difference between good prompts and better prompts. I call it good prompt and better prompts. Now, what's a good prompt? A good prompt is based on the knowledge we got yesterday. Of course, I defined it like that. So, based on the knowledge we discussed yesterday, all of those things that we defined, a good prompt is based off that. I already explained that. I will not go back to that. Now, a better prompt is when you now ask AI itself to help you to create this prompt, to write it even better. This one is very confusing, but let me explain it to you. So this is what I do sometimes. When I know that my head is blank and I cannot think of anything, what I just simply do is that I will write my jargons. I will write my jargons. I will write it there and I will copy it from AI. I will copy from my notepad and paste it in a new chart of AI. Now I've tell AI to, does he understand this information I put there? He reads through, he shares with me his understanding. If it's correct, I say okay. If it's not correct, I try to tweak it a bit. Now, once it's done with that, the next thing I do is that okay, if I want to maybe create a documentation or create a report or do XYZ, how can I go about it? Or can you create for me a really good prompt that I can use? It will shock you the thing that ChatGPT will come out with. So once you give it that information, ChatGPT will then help you create a prompt out of it. So now ChatGPT is the one crafting the prompt for you. That is a tip as to how you can get better prompts. So let me give you an example. If you have a prompt, if you have an information that you prompted ChatGPT, and maybe that information did not come out well, but you just manage it like that. Now try and copy that message that you sent. Try and copy that message that you sent and ask ChatGPT to help you rewrite it. You'll be amazed at the information that it comes out. Tell it to help you rewrite this prompt in a better way. Now, once it helps you rewrite it, now paste it again and see the information you get. You see that there's a clear difference between you prompting yourself and a computer prompting for you. That's the difference. Because a computer is more versatile with the information of a computer. Is able to prompt itself even better compared to compared to a normal person prompting. So that's another important tip. So there is not much time tonight. I would have said we should try it out. But if you get back to wherever you are, just try and pick a bad prompt, a prompt that did not come out very well. Try and pick it up. Once you've picked it up, now try and run it against ChatGPT again and tell it to rewrite this prompt for you in a better way. And then once it writes it for you, copy the prompt and paste it back for it and see the output that you're going to get. So I said, yeah, whenever you are confused about the prompt, ask AI to write it well for you. As simple as ABC. This thing is going to save you millions and millions, or this is going to save you a lot of money, a lot of time, and a lot of energy. If you agree, type in there, I agree, I agree, I agree. If you agree, it's going to save you a lot. Type in there, I agree, I agree, I agree. All right, let's see the comments. Emmanuel, okay, yeah, Mr. Emmanuel, amazing, amazing. All right, all right, all right. So interesting, interesting. So now, I will gradually wrapping up. So, some practical use cases for prompt engineering can be for content creation. Now, this is very, very common. Importance or use cases or practical use cases for prompt engineering can be for content creation. Many people use AI to create their content plan. Now, I even mentioned earlier that you can even connect your ChatGPT to Canva if you have a Canva paid version. And Canva paid version, I think the list is not more than 5,000 or thereabouts. So you can easily use Canva to you prompt Canva, create the design. Once you create the design, you even use Canva to schedule your posts. That's how interesting it is. That's made life easy for many of us. So you're a business owner that is doing content creation. It's very easy. It's very easy. You don't have to employ several, maybe graphic designers or social media manager or all of those things. Just one person can do the job for all of them. Important tip. And it's going to save you a lot of time that you can use to focus on what really matters. Another thing is important for is for business planning. Like I mentioned to you guys earlier, I use AI, I use prompt engineering for business planning a lot, a lot. The execution plan I wrote last week, I used prompt engineering for it. Several other documentations I've done, several things I've done. The business I currently consult for, I use AI for them and several things like that. AI is also important for research and learning. For research and learning. So if you are currently doing research or you are learning, so you can start to see tips. In fact, let me introduce us to another tool, Atlas AI. If you've not heard of Atlas AI, I dropped it a couple of weeks back. Search out Atlas AI. This one is particularly for students. If you are a student and you want to really go deep into research, try out Atlas AI. Atlas AI will help you save video recordings. Say, for example, you record the voice of your lecturer while lecture was going on, it will receive it. You have lecture notes, PDFs, and whatever, it will get it. You have links. Maybe they told you to go and research this link, this website, that website. It will collect everything. It will collect all of those different kinds of information. And once you upload it to it, you can start to prompt questions, ask questions. It's very seamless for research and learning. I know that the Notebook LLM also does something like this. Notebook LLM is very good at that. It's also good for researchers, students, and what have not. So if you're a student here, it's a pro tip for you right now. Just go and get your Notebook LLM or go and get your Atlas AI. And the important thing about these guys is that they are free. Although the free version is limited, but they are free and they are available for everyone. So it's also good for documentation and reporting. Like I said, I use it for documentation a lot. So if you're someone also that has to do with lots of documentation, you're documenting Excel, you're documenting PowerPoint, you're documenting several kinds of documentation, it has saved me a lot of stress when it comes to documentation and reporting. Many a times, many of us still struggle with, oh, let me bring this one, let me put that one, let me bring this one, let me put that one. But all of those things will save you lots of stress. It saves you lots of stress if you easily know how to prompt well. But the struggle is that many of us still don't understand how to prompt well. But I'm sure that with this knowledge that we've gained tonight, we are going to definitely be pros when it comes to prompting. So those are some of the practical use cases. Now, in summary, prompt engineering for work. So prompt engineering can be used for different kinds of things. I mentioned for students. If you are using it in work, you can use it for emails and proposals, meeting summaries, planning tasks, productivity support, and several things like that. It's a productivity tool. It's here to make your work easier and faster. That's the thing, easier and faster. So I trust that we've learned one thing or the other. If you've learned tonight, if you've learned anything at all, just type in there, I've learned, I've learned, I've learned. Let me know that this effort was not in vain. If you've learned something tonight, type in, I've learned, I've learned, I've learned. If you've learned something, type in, I've learned, I've learned, I've learned. Oh, I'm getting comments on YouTube. Amazing, 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 amazing. Love. Thank you. I've learned. Amazing, amazing, amazing. All right. So as usual, the recordings will be made available. So anyone that missed the class can easily just go through the recordings. But very quickly, before we call it a meeting tonight, I want to introduce us to an AI tool called Assistly. Assistly is a product that uh, my startup designed. Assistly is a product my startup designed. So if you are currently a business owner or you are whoever you are, and you're currently struggling with customer inquiries, say for example, you're always getting messages from customers, getting requests, getting messages, getting requests, and you don't know how to manage all of these things. Or for example, you run ads every time and you are getting leads, you are getting requests, and of course, you cannot keep employing plenty people because to respond to tens to hundreds of messages at a time, it can be very stressful. So many of you will know or you'll be able to relate to what I'm talking about. Say, for example, when a particular business is running ads or running sales on whether Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, or wherever, you are going to be getting requests bombarded at you from left, right, and center. From left, right, and center. And of course, there are the other leads. It's important that you message or you respond to them, not just responding to them. It's also important that you save the leads information, save their leads contact so that you can message them later. It's also important that you're able to track their payments, you're able to track their payment across different times and not delay in their response. So what this tool does is that this tool brings every single thing together as long as it comes to customer support or customer inquiry. So when it comes to lead management or categorization, it helps you to manage your leads, it helps you to segment your leads, it helps you to define which leads are hot leads, which leads are cold leads, which leads should you focus on, and which ones should you not focus on. It now goes ahead to help you to send payments, reminders, follow-ups. So if this lead forgets to message back or forgets to respond to your message, it helps you to message the leads, follow up with the conversations and several things like that. It sends automated marketing messages, it sends requests, it can help you handle the entire process end to end without your intervention. That is a beautiful thing, and that's one thing that is about this tool that is really amazing. And of course, you can manage it from your device wherever you are. It helps you with lead qualification, lead segmentation, and several things like that. So if you're a business owner that currently is suffering from too much information, I was speaking with some persons, I think 2 weeks ago, and this lady was talking about how that she misses customers or she loses a lot of money because she's not able to respond to customers. And it's true, when businesses are expanding, you've never gotten your systems in place. So others are coming in from your social media, they are coming in from LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, wherever. They are coming in from different places, and it's always difficult to track all of them. One person cannot track all of them. Usually we'll employ other people, but you cannot employ more than one person or two persons. It's a small business, it's a small medium business. You can't employ as much. But what this tool does is that it's a simple tool that you can just use that, once you can set it up once, it just keeps on working for you over and over and over. So all of those repetitive tasks, it gets rid of them for you, and it keeps sorting all of those duties, sorting all of those things, and getting your job done for you every single day. And the good thing about AI is that it does not go to sleep. AI does not go to sleep. So even if your request comes in the night, it will process your request, and by the next morning, you will see information that a request has been processed or payment has been made, and you can sleep with two eyes closed. So if you think this is something that interests you, you can request for a demo. Just message any of the admins or message myself. You can request for a demo. We can also help you set up a free live account, a free test account rather, a free test account for 2 weeks. You can test it out for free for free, no charge at all. You can test it out and see if it truly works for you. If it works for you, fine. If it does not work for you, of course, you can choose to move on. But really, I trust that it's going to work for as many persons that have used it. Of course, they've testified to some of the things that they've been able to get it onboarded for. We have some persons in the pipeline that are currently onboarding, and we have some other persons too that are still in the wait list that are also looking to be onboarded. So if you think that this is something that can really help you save a lot of time, do send us a DM and we can definitely attend to you. So it's the same thing we're talking about. AI helping to make your life easier and faster. So another important thing that I've also been hearing from everyone is that they've always been asking me, "Oh, do we offer AI automation trainings? Do you offer AI automation trainings?" Now, if you are very familiar with AI automation, you know that it's very expensive, particularly online. AI automation is very expensive, and it's a skill that is getting to demand now. It's getting really in demand. Many freelancers are starting to build AI workflows and several things like that. So we looked at how we can approach it. Really, our goal is to our goal is to pass information as free as possible. But some informations like this, we cannot exactly teach them without getting a sort of commitment. In fact, for some of these things, we have to invite other persons to come and train us. And trust me, this person spends money to learn these things that they will be in turn teaching us. So the original cost that they gave us was about 150K. But due to some personal relationships and some other factors on our end, we looked for how to subsidize it to about 50,000, just 50,000. So if you're someone that wants to learn about AI automation, particularly as it has to do with AI automation, leads management, something similar to Assistly that I just showed us now, you can also reach out to the admin. It's called the course or the training rather is going to run for 4 weeks. It's going to run for 4 weeks, and we are going to be teaching about AI automation, how you can use Zapier, how you can use anything. For many persons that know Zapier, I thought about it last training. I won't go over it again. And for some persons that know about anything, you can also learn about all of these things for a very discounted price. Trust me, you will not get this thing anywhere. In fact, carry your phone and go and search now. You will not get this price anywhere. And once this event is over, obviously the price is going to jump up because it costs us a lot to try and facilitate all of these things and get it to this price. So if you want to learn about AI automations, is in rave now. It's in rave now. I wanted to interview someone on my podcast. She's currently an AI automation expert. She's currently learning AI automation and also practicing AI automation. So I understand how difficult, I understand how in demand some of these skills are and several things like that. You don't need to have any technical knowledge. We are going to walk you through everything step by step. Like I said, it's not me that's going to be taking the course. I'm going to be inviting someone to help to train and several things like that. And it's going to be virtual. So if you think that this is also another thing that interests you, also let us know. And I think that's it. Now, the final thing is another good news. So by as we all know, I mentioned that this training is going to be something that's going to be recurring. So every single month for the rest of this year, we are going to be hosting a free training, a free webinar, and a free learning course that we are going to be talking about AI, bringing in people to talk about AI to us, train us about AI. We're going to see the possibilities of AI and several things like that. So we're going to be learning all of those things all in one place. So if you think this is something you're also interested in, you can let us know. This particular webinar is going to be hosting. The flyer will be out sometime next week, and it's going to be a free webinar, guys. It's going to be a free webinar. The title is AI agents don't replace people, they replace chaos. We are hoping to bring you clarity and not confusion. That's the whole purpose of artificial intelligence. So if you think this is something that you would be interested in, of course, it's free. The information will be passed on to the community and everyone gets informed. So that being said, thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much, everyone, for being a part of this January training. I mean, I couldn't have done it without you. It won't make sense if I was here and there was nobody to listen or nobody to get the knowledge. I mean, what's the point of having knowledge when there's no one to learn about it? So thank you so much for being a part. Thank you so much. Your efforts are truly seen, are really seen. Trust me. Just being here means a lot. It means a lot to us. It means a lot to my team. And it makes us to see that this is truly valued. So thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. God bless you and have a good night. Bye, everyone.